Welcome, everybody, to the U16 pod. I'm Ryan MacArthur.
And I'm Connor Williams. And on the last episode of the U16 pod, we had a northern episode centered around the Great North Midget League there. And three phenomenal interviews, actually one including two players there. We had Nolan Newton and Tyson Risman on from the Sudbury Nickel Capital U16 team, as well as goaltender Charlie Burns from the Sioux Junior Greyhounds U18 team. So phenomenal interviews there. Great episode. It was great to have some northern guys on, give some spotlight to those northern players. So definitely, if you haven't checked that episode out on YouTube, go hit that like and subscribe button and check out that episode on YouTube there, or have a listen on whatever podcast platform you listen to the podcast on. So definitely go check that one out. And we're going to get in this one. This is going to kind of be our last episode in terms of kind of our league-centered episodes, I think.
Yeah.
With the season all kind of getting going, and we're going to get the playoffs going underway here soon with a couple leagues playoffs that sort of started going or just underway, while other leagues are really coming to the end of their season and we're sneaking up on the playoffs here. So it's an exciting time in the season. But today we're going to be centered around the HEO, as well as kind of doing our usual kind of recap of some of the games we got to go to. Some exciting matchups happened, but this is going to be our Hockey Eastern Ontario HEO episode here with three great interviews. We got forward Hunter McKnight, defenseman Rory Gilmour, and goaltender Jaden Cholette as well. So phenomenal. Stay tuned for those interviews as well later on. But great episode planned here from the Ottawa region. But like we did last week with the Great North and the season getting underway, we're gonna kind of jump into some games we both had to attend, Ryan. So I'll let you go first here. As I know we both kind of had a busy past week here, past little bit here. So I'll let you go first with some of the games you had attended, and I know we both managed to hit up some games as well at the same time. So we were at some games at the same time. So I'll let you go first here, Ryan.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, it's been a bit since we recorded, so we got a few games to go through. But yeah, so I'll start off with Burlington and Halton. Saw that one at Sherwood in Halton there. It's a good game. Halton won the game 4-2. So Burlington, I mean, got to start with Hudson Gill, defenseman. We had him on our SCTA episode. He was unbelievable. He had a goal. Really kind of dominates and dictates play, really physical, really good looking player with the C, skates well, captain the team, I meant to say. Just really, really good player overall. And we mentioned him a lot in a previous episode, so check out the SCTA episode if you want to hear more about Hudson. But also on Halton, we had Hunter McKenzie on previously. He was doing his thing. Nice pass there to Chris Cassidy, who scored a nice one. And Chris Soares was strong as usual. And yeah, Halton kind of took that one pretty handily. It was a 4-2 game, but they were taking it to them pretty good. And then in the next game I saw, same day actually, Hamilton took Southern Tier down 8-2. So on the Southern Tier side, another defenseman, Callum Chanowski, really had a good game. Like he can really skate, really, really strong player. Had a great game overall. And yeah, like he kind of makes a lot happen, right? Like defensively, he's kind of that complete all-around defenseman that the more as the season goes on, the more I get my looks at Southern Tier. It's a guy that I really like. I know you like him as well, Chanowski?
Oh, he's a phenomenal defenseman. Actually, the game you got to see, I got to see the two teams play the day before as well, and Southern Tier had taken the day before, so it was great to hear the bounce back victory from Hamilton. But Callum Janowski, for me, he's the top defenseman in the SCTA. I view him as he given the right OHL team and put him in the right system and putting them in with the right organization, great coaching. I think he could be OHL ready next year, and I think he could really fit in well with an OHL team. And just like you mentioned, the aggressiveness he plays with, his skating. He's got a heck of a shot, just a powerful shot as well. And in fact, I gotta shout him out too as well with he made an appearance on Family Day here with the Go JHL's Thorold Blackhawks there. And he actually got his first Go JHL point there on an assist there in the win. So congrats to him. Yeah. He had a great game overall, and he's looked phenomenal this year for Southern Tier. Really been a driving force from the back end for them as well. So I'll let you finish up on the game you got to attend as well there.
Yeah, no, for sure. He's been unreal. Like he's a guy that we'll definitely have to contact, get on the pod. Hopefully he'll jump on and we'll be able to get him on. But yeah, I mean, we still got a lot to figure out with the scheduling and everything. But yeah, he's one that is definitely on our short list of players we want to have on, right? So yeah, Hamilton, I mean, big game. Like Matthew Campanella had an awesome game, really physical, really, really nice snipe, a few assists, like really, really strong game. Clark Dunford had a good game as well. I mean, he's a big bodied forward, similar to Campanella. They're both pretty like they throw the body, they play the game the right way. And Clark Dunford had a great game. As usual, Jake Peters was buzzing, Braden Russell, Dean Della Georgis, same old kind of cast of characters from Hamilton doing their thing, and they had a big game. And then a couple of days later, I saw the Mississauga Sens beat the Vaughan Kings 8-2. On the Sens side, Riley Patterson had a massive game, hat trick. I think he had at least one or two assists and hit a post, and he was unbelievable. Landon Miller made a couple big stops, or else he would have done more damage. And it was a big game for Patterson. And Bodie Stewart was really strong as well. Like Bodie Stewart, we had on the pod previously. We love Bodie Stewart, really fast, strong, skilled forward. Kind of has that complete package, right? Like he pretty much checks all the boxes and is a guy that I think OHL teams are going to really like. He had a big game. Malcolm Spence, I mean, what can you say about him? He's just that, like, he dominates at times. There's shifts where it seems like he has the puck the whole shift and goes end to end with the puck and snipes. That shooting accuracy is unbelievable. So that was awesome. On the Vaughan side, CJ Irwin is a one we haven't mentioned on the pod before, but he had a good game. Like I remember him from the summer as a guy that's kind of been in the back of my mind, and I just wanted to give him a shout out because like he's done a lot of good things this year throughout the season, and really kind of caught my eye as a guy that could be a good draft pick as well. So yeah, that was a good game. I mean, the Sens obviously 8-2, big win for them. Tough task for Vaughan to take on the Sens. Like I think Vaughan was shorthanded for that one. So
Yeah, tough go for them, and just to Sens once again kind of showing their dominance there and all that. So it's great to hear that you got to attend some games, some great recaps there, and I got to attend. I had a busy week, busy past couple of weeks, midterms in school, and lots of hockey going on as well. So I'm gonna start with I had a busy Saturday recently, and I'll start off with the first game I got to attend on the Saturday at 1 o'clock at Herbert Carnegie Arena there, between the North York Rangers and the Toronto Titans. North York kind of was really carrying the pace in that game, and for me, one of the biggest player that stood out, the player that I think had the best game overall. I really liked defenseman Nathan O'Mary's game. Really was taking it, really was controlling the pace, really kind of being reliable, making the right play, showing his strong decision making. And then this is my first look at Kevin He since the summer. Kevin
nice.
He was looking real good. He was using that skate and using that speed and flying all over the ice. Showing that shot release as well, quick release. He just buzzed it around, man. It'll be interesting. I think a lot of people who haven't seen him, haven't got to see him necessarily yet, they're gonna be excited. They're gonna be really happy when they get to watch North York and Kevin He play, because it was one heck of a game from Kevin He. And
Yeah.
Kieran Walden once again ended up on the highlight reel, stuck it up on the Instagram there. He did a little dance dangle and beat the defender, got in alone, and did a little snipe on the goalie there. So Kieran Walden was doing Kieran Walden things in that game as well. So Christopher Brown also had a really solid performance as well for North York. Really low scoring affair though, I will say 4-2 game for North York there. So it was one heck of actually 5-2 game. Kevin He netted an empty netter. So but close game. Titans really held their own in that game there, but North York ended up taking that one 5-2. And then the next game I got to see on that Saturday, took a trip to St. Andrews College. Really was excited to watch this one. Was excited to check out one of the defensemen on St. Andrews College. One of the top 06 eligible defensemen for this year's draft. He is verbally committed to Michigan, but he still is. If you look at just the talent, take away that commitment, he's one of the top players in this draft, not just top defenseman. He very well could be the top D in that conversation. Matthew Virgilio. It's a tough game. Sac played against Shattuck St. Mary's, the top Shattuck team, the U18 team. Tough game for their first one. They had a better effort in their Sunday game. I didn't get to go to that one, but their Saturday game, they had a tough 12-1 loss, but really had a bounce back victory on the Sunday. Actually did, Sac did, winning 5-3. But Virgilio, despite the 12-1 loss, he was really showing off his skating, his smooth skating. He's got a low center of gravity, really tough to knock off the puck. Really implements that some deception in his game when he's got the puck on his stick, and he's got the offensive upside, but he's also got the defensive urgency and that defensive reliability in his own zone that really is important. And I'd be remiss. I know these three guys for me. Actually, these three guys aren't OHL eligible at all. But I have a feeling we're gonna see these guys. We'll
I know where you're
probably see
going.
one of them next year get his name called somewhere in the NHL draft, likely fairly early. And then the other two are probably gonna get their names called fairly early in the 2024 NHL draft. But William Whitelaw, Macklin Celebrini, and then Cole Iserman. Celebrini and Iserman 06s and the Whitelaw's in 05. My gosh, those three were just outstanding. Celebrini, I've heard so much about Celebrini, and the hype is real. Iserman, the hype is real. Celebrini was incredible, and Whitelaw just a quick feet, man. That kid moves and that kid can fly. He was phenomenal. But we're OHL, we're an Ontario podcast, so I'll kind of those guys aren't necessarily OHL draft eligible, but it was really fun getting to watch those guys play. But the third game I got to see to finish off kind of the road trip for that day was between the North Central Predators and Richmond Hill Coyotes. Really close game. I really got to give credit because Richmond Hill took the game 2-1, which helped vault them higher in the standings in a way. But really got to give credit to their goaltender, Stephen Amaro. He played phenomenal in that game. Really made some big time saves. North Central had a lot of chances. Had some high quality chances as well. Did some power plays early, and Amaro came up big. So I got to really give credit and shout out Stephen Amaro in the crease there for Richmond Hill. He was phenomenal. Really like Braden Schotterhose, his game, defenseman, really moving the puck well, really good on puck retrievals, moving the puck up ice, tough to play against down low. Was really making things happen, had an assist in the game on one of the goals too. So he was really looking good. One of my favorite defensemen on Richmond Hill in that game. We had a couple players at the forward position I really liked. First was Nate Brendel. He had the go-ahead goal, really, really nice shot from the top of the circle. But he was kind of really making things happen. Centerman, really reliable, playing that really good pretty good two-way game. Sorry, really showing some offensive upside as well with a really strong shot. Putting himself in the right areas, finding that soft space where he can use his offensive abilities to make things happen. And then 28, Danny Tomakos was actually a player who I really
Love
liked.
Tomacos.
Yeah, he's one of the quickest players in that game. He's got a speed to his game, and he really gets in there. Not the biggest guy in terms of size or strength necessarily at first glance, but he really gets in there, and he really battles and really makes his presence known, uses his body effectively to get down low, leverage guys off the puck. And really, really phenomenal game from Danny Tomakos and those four players from Richmond Hill in the win. And then from North Central side, as a whole, a lot of their players really played a really solid game. And like I said, I think Stephen Amaro really, really played a heck of a game and really stole some goals from them, where the result easily could have gone there, where it was a really tight game. But I got to start with Ethan Procession. We had him on the pod for the ETA episode, and my first time seeing like a full game from him live. I saw him a bit at the Silver Stick, and he left me wanting more and more, and I got more from him in this game. And he was just his play off the puck is phenomenal. His forechecking ability is elite. He gets in there, and I watched him go against some bigger defensemen in that game. And you might expect the bigger defenseman to use that size strength to knock him off the puck. No, Procession was in there, and he was coming out the puck, and I'd say well over 80, 90, excuse me, 90% of the 50-50 puck battles he was coming out with, which is phenomenal. His off play puck, his two-way game is phenomenal. He's got that every time a D would pinch in or whatnot, he'd be back, he'd be covering for them, and he had that two-way game going. And the only thing that they just couldn't beat was Stephen Amaro. So Procession looked phenomenal in that game. Nathan Schaap was the defenseman. He was playing aggressive, really offensive in that game, finding ways to carry the puck up ice. Tough blow for him in the third period, just in the third period, kind of early in the third. A tough play where he defenseman was angling him. It was almost like a little Pacioretty Zdeno Chara play, but just kind of tough play, and he ended up in the stanchion. So really, I actually really just want to wish him the best. Really tough play to watch, and hope he's all right. Hope he's good to go for the playoffs, because it was a scary play to see, and tough to see him down for a bit because he is one of the top defensemen on his team, and as well as in the OHL draft as a whole. So really hope Nathan Schaap is all right, and wish him nothing but the best. Hopefully we'll see him in the playoffs as well. So, but he had a great game up until he got hurt there. And a few other players, Evan Gilbert, really liked his game. Smaller
Yeah.
guy, but really skilled player. He was finding ways to use his speed. His skating's really good. His edges, really uses those edges to weave in and out, kind of be mobile, change the angle, change the pace, his pace, make things happen. Really like Jace Hill's game as well. And Logan Shannon on defense is really good as well for me, with his puck retrievals and moving the puck up ice. But North Central, Richmond Hill is a great game, actually, between two great teams who actually are in the same group for the ETA playoffs now. So it's going to be a tight playoff race for that group, that Series C, which has 4 teams: Clarington, York Simcoe, Richmond Hill, and North Central. That'll be a phenomenal group to keep an eye on from the ETA. Is only one team can come out of that group, and it'll be battle every game for that group of teams there. So that was a phenomenal Saturday for me, and three strong games, 3 great games, in fact. And um, another game I got to watch before that one, you got to see the 8-2 game between Hamilton and Southern Tier. I got to see the game they played before that, where Southern Tier took that one 5-4. And I do want to shout out, because a lot of the players you mentioned actually had a great game for Hamilton, but some players I'll shout out who actually had really good games for Southern Tier in that win. Was first off, Hunter Coley, number 66 for Southern Tier there, had a phenomenal game. He spotted the hat trick, but he was really making stuff happen. He was a presence in front of the net. Max Schreier, bringing the physicality, really making that forecheck strong and really knocking guys off the puck, not giving much time, and making them know that, hey, every time I'm coming in, I'm going to finish my check, and you're not going to have, you can't hold on to that puck for too long. Andrew Kennedy, he was coming up with some big plays, really showing some finesse in that game, making some plays with the puck, and had some big time assists as well. We mentioned Callum Chanowski earlier, so we said a lot about him there, so that was great. And then Luke Bredner was a player I really liked as well. Kind of smaller player, but really highly skilled, quick feet, puts himself in the right areas, finds the open space, and puts himself in a spot where he can get the puck. He got a couple goals as a result of it, and it was great to see. So he had a phenomenal game as well. And then a couple other games here. I know both you and I were actually at three other games. So
Yeah.
I'll start with the Majors versus JRC game.
Yeah.
Majors versus Toronto Junior Canadians. JRC took it 6-1. Tough game for Markham. Three players I really liked in that game from Markham, who I thought really stood out for them. Starting with Markham, Jack Dean, Alex Kostov, and Liam Greentree. Kostov was just all over the ice, making his impact felt. Hits, offensively, he was making things happen. Paulo Frasco, as we'll jump into JRC in a second, had a phenomenal game. He's come up with some really
Good.
good performances throughout the season. But
Yeah.
Liam Greentree also had a flurry of offensive opportunities as well, and Frasco came up big. Jack Dean looked good for me, and JRC. Some players I liked. Michael Hag. Gosh, he had one heck of a weekend, as we'll get into in a bit here. But Jonas Siskinder as well, number 55 on defense. Really tough D, hard to play against. Was really physical down low. And Anthony Cristoforos, another player, and then Jacob Battaglia had a hat trick in that game as well. Ryan, he was phenomenal. He was getting open.
Mm.
He was finishing on his opportunities there, Ryan.
Yeah, no, that was a good game. Like bit of a down game for the Majors in the 6-1 loss there. But like you mentioned, Green Tree was buzzing. We have that great interview that you had with him on a previous episode, so check that out. If you missed that one, like he's an unbelievable player. And like I also noticed Alex Kostov, that's the one I have down as well for Markham. Like he was, I mean, he's driving play up and down that wing, and I mean, just jumping into play, like just really kind of a smart player. Really did a lot of stuff that turned my head during that game. Jacob Battaglia, I mean, he looked powerful and dominant in the game. And you mentioned Paulo Frasca. Like, I think with JRC, I mean, it's tough to rank the top teams right now. It's really, really tight at the top, but it's hard for me like not to have them in that top spot just with like that goaltending. Like that tandem of Frasca and Frost is really, really a good tandem. I mean, it's pretty tricky though. Like there's probably 5 teams that in the whole U16 loop that I think are favorites for the OHL Cup right now. But JRC, like they've been good lately, right? The 6-1 win was pretty convincing, and we'll get to another one later. But before we get to that one, we'll talk a bit about the 7-1 win. Just after that, at Scotia Pond by Don Mills over the Mississauga Rebels. And Nathan Games had a really great, strong game. Like he was kind of dominating play at times and had the puck a lot, set up some goals. Like couple like he had multiple points in that game, and it was a big win by Don Mills. In games, I think he was the one who kind of stood out the most for me. He was buzzing a lot. Like, yeah, he was really good in that game.
Yeah, I really like Game's game. He brings high energy, plays up
Yeah,
tempo, and he's an aggressive player.
that's
I
a
really
good
like the
point. High
goaltender.
energy.
Once again, I really like the goaltender, Luca Di Felice.
Yeah,
Really phenomenal. For me, he's a great goaltender. He's got the size that a lot of teams look for in goaltenders, but he's also got the athleticism in the crease. He made some. He came up. It actually could have been a very tight, different game in terms of the score wise. Maybe a 7-3, 7-4 game, if not for some big saves. I think early from Di Felice, where Rebels actually had a couple really quality grade A scoring chances in tight, and Di Felice showed off some great reactionary saves, showing off those reflexes and came up big, keeping the puck in the net. I watched him stop him with the paddle. Came up big in that game for them. But he's a phenomenal goaltender, and he's got that vocal. He's got the communication as a goaltender that I always love seeing. He's a fun
yeah,
goalie to watch too. He brings that energy on the ice as well. That's great to see. He's a calming but also energetic presence. Ironically enough, in the creases, the Flyers. I'm sure the team knows that hey, if there's a chance for the opposition, we got Di Felice back there. He's going to stop it, but also he brings us that energy from the crease and out where he starts us off. He's leading us out on the ice, and we know when he starts us off, when he's starting for us, he's bringing that energy, and we got that energy in the game for us as well. But it was a great game. Mason Taylor, I also liked in the game. And number 15, Chen, as well as a player.
Oh,
I
right.
really like as well in that game.
Daniel Chen. Yeah, Daniel Chen had a good game. He was strong, and he's one that I've noticed like quite a bit. We actually talked about him a little bit, like on the phone. I think it was like last week or something. We were chatting and we were talking about Daniel Chen. He's been strong, eh?
Yeah, he's really come up and really been a player that he slowly's kind of. For me, I think he might be slipping under some radars and maybe a bit underrated or and whatnot.
Yeah,
But he had a pretty good game as well against the Rebels. Number 4, Mason Taylor as well on defense. We'll see him in the GTHL Top Prospects game. But Don Mills really took that one, kind of showed off their dominance in that game and whatnot. So, but the last game here that I think that fitting enough that we finish off with is before we get into the Ottawa players. Toronto Marlboros versus the Toronto Junior Canadians.
game.
One of the biggest games of the year. Actually, when you look at
Unreal.
the standings wise, it was a massive game for the landscape. Sens had beat JRC like a week and a half earlier. And this. If Marlies had won, they'd retain their first place position in the GTHL. But JRC, man, they came out flying. They came out big. 3-2 victory. And that changes, really keeps it tight at the top of the standings in the GTHL with Sens now at top. And JRC and Marlies are basically tied now. And it was phenomenal. I mean, Michael Hack had another great game. Before we get into other players from the JRC or Marlboros, he had a phenomenal weekend from
Yeah.
Friday night against the Marlboros with a couple beautiful goals. The first one was beautiful. And then Sunday, he played 2
Unbelievable.
games. He played 2 games on Sunday, one against
Yeah.
the Nats. Then heck, we're done with we're done against the Nats. So let's go join the OJHL. Let's have our first call up. Let's have our first OJHL game as an AP player with the Toronto Junior Canadians of the OJHL. And then let's put up 2 goals and 2 assists. Like, are you kidding me? And he on the second goal he scored in the third period, he popped the bottle. Like talk about poor goalies there, just popping bottles.
Style points too.
You could see on the video feed, like we put it up on the Instagram. You can see on the video feed, one of the players looks to the scratches from the undressed players from the OJHL JRC. They're like in amazement. The one player from the JRC, he's got his hands on his head, like what is just happened? Michael Haig had an unreal weekend, and he's just showing why he's one of the top forwards and centermen in this draft class, right?
And he is really like he's really elevated his game. He was always, I mean, in that top group or whatever, but now, like, I mean, he's putting himself kind of in that top handful of players for me. It's the picture's starting to become a little bit more clear about, I mean, who's at the top of the draft, and like he's certainly among those guys. Like he's been dominant. That game against the Marlies and JRC game, JRC won that game 3-2. Like 2 goals, just unbelievable game. That first goal when he cut middle and ripped it, that was gorgeous. And like to go along with a great OJHL debut, just an unbelievable showing for him. Like he's rising, like, and he was already really high, right, on everyone's board. So he's been killing it at the right time. And yeah, like Henry Muse in that game also got a nice one against the Marlies. That was a nice snipe, stuck in there and got another one. Couple U16 pod alums. So check out those episodes if you didn't see our interviews with them. Find them there amongst our episodes because we had good interviews with those two. And Carter Frost, I mean, I mentioned him before. JRC's been getting great goaltending with Frost and Frasca, but Carter Frost had a great game for the JRC. And on the Marley side, I mean, Carter Lowe, we had him on the U16 pod, had an unbelievable game in that one. Right at the end, he came in and ripped one off the crossbar, and man, did he ever want to tie that game. Like, remember that? He was coming in buzzing. Beckett Seneke was good too, but and he was good all game. Beckett Seneke, he's always buzzing, always really good offensively. But Carter Lowe, like, he's dominant. He's huge too. Like he looks awesome out there. And he had a great game, which showed really, really well for the Marlies.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned Seneca. Also tossed in a couple defensemen here, Parker Von Richter and Sammy Dickinson there.
Yeah.
We had Sam on for our GTHL episode during the lockdown here, but Parker Von Richter is a defenseman I think a lot of teams will like. He's got size. He's a right shot defenseman, which a lot of teams covet. He's got a really he plays on that first power play unit along with Dickinson, and he's a one-timer threat. He's got a heavy shot. He plays a physical game, and he's tough to play against, and that's something you really look for in terms of using your size effectively and also making things happen from the backhand. He's able to also make those effective breakout passes and really move the puck up ice. So Von Richter's a defenseman who's really grown this season. I really liked him. He had a really solid game.
He's a sleeper
for the JRC, so for the Marlborough rather. But it was a really tight game. It's really going to be exciting to watch when the GTHL playoffs get going. It's really tight in the G. At the top of the standings, in the mid standings, and at the bottom, and kind of fighting for those last couple playoff spots. So really excited to see how that things shake up there. So we're excited to watch some more GTHL games and all that. But it was really fun week of games for both of us. So phenomenal aspect in there. So with that being said, we'll jump into the Ottawa guys. Like we mentioned, this is our HEO Ottawa episode, Hockey Eastern Ontario. So we're excited to kind of jump into the U18. Similar to kind of last episode, the Great North Midget League, they're a tough one for us to watch as well, Ryan. With just kind of obviously Ottawa's for us, for me down to Cap, it's probably a 7-hour drive at this point. For up where you are as well, it's probably like a 5-hour, 6-hour drive just from where we are. So it's always tough in terms of live views. We always love to get those live viewings. You get more. I think you get the different aspects of being there live. You get to hear the puck on hit the tape passes. You get to hear different stuff, but also just being live, you get different aspects of it. But they're also tough, similar to the Great North Midget League, where it's always tough to get as many views as you'd like on them. But Ottawa's definitely always, again, similar to Great North Midget League. They've got the U18 League, where you've got the blend of kind of 04s, 05s playing there, as well as the 06s who are either kind of picked up or drafted in the CCHL Bantam draft. So we'll get started here with the HEO. I think for both of us here, I think it starts off with kind of their big three players of the HEO U18.
Oh yeah,
you got
100%.
And the three of them are leading the way in scoring, but they're more than just their score. Like they show the production is shown, but they've also off the puck and just the powerful players they are. They've got the work ethic to go with it. I mean, you got Cole Baudouin, Ben Cormier, and Nathan Villeneuve. That's the order in which they are in the stat standings. But really, It's just the three of them have been dominant this season. I mean, you look at Baudouin. For me, he's got the size. He's like that centerman with size, power, strength, and he's a player and a centerman I think a lot of teams are going to covet because it's really hard to find those big centermen. I think he's over 6 foot. He's big, he's strong. He plays a really strong two-way game, and he's clearly got the production. Clearly showed the finish this year. That is so important for so many teams, Ryan.
Yeah, no, he's a stud. Like he's been killing it. Big, strong player, like dominating out there and dominating against older players. Like we mentioned, this HEO loop is the U18 loop, and Baudouin's been really strong for Nepean. I mean, 72 points, like that's just unbelievable. And he was also really good at the draft day in Toronto. Like we that's where we kind of got a first look at a lot of these guys, right? Like you and I spent a lot of time at that draft day tournament, and like you mentioned, it's harder for us to see these guys. We're watching them mostly on my hockey TV and whatnot, but I'm hoping to make it. I'm going to make an Ottawa trip soon, so I'm hoping to see these guys live and recent. So so that's coming up in a couple weeks, but I'll let everyone know how that goes when I make the trip. But Baudouin's been good. Like, I mean, Cormier, Ben Cormier, Nathan Villeneuve from the Navin grads, we've had them on the pod. Unbelievable players. Like Villeneuve with that size and power combination, just a wicked shot, comes in, rips a shot in stride, and he's just like physical beast out there dominating, really physical, likes to throw the body and get under guys' skin. Ben Cormier, another center, highly skilled, really, really talented player. Like just kind of those three are, I mean, they're definitely in the conversation for like the top of the first round, definitely like going to be probably in that first round. But I mean, we don't really like to play that game. It's tough to tell. Making the first round is tough, but I'd say those three got a good shot, right?
No, absolutely. And clearly, those guys have separated themselves as really high end of the Ottawa group, I think.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned there in terms of the first round. But sticking with kind of their teams as well, I really like Carson McGurn from Nepean as well. Sam Glover from Navin and Aiden Sulmi, apologies if I pronounced that incorrectly, from Navin as well, have had really strong seasons as well. Brockville, moving on to the next team here, Brockville. They haven't had the season they probably wish they had, but Hunter McKnight, like we mentioned, we got him on the pod. We'll jump into a bit more, but he's had a really strong season for them. Carlton Place, they've got a couple guys who I really liked in Cadden Ryan and Thomas Dickey, who I think have really stood out for them. And then I got the chance recently to watch some Smiths Falls action on Hockey TV, really dive into them a bit. Just there was 4 guys that really jumped out to me. First off, Spencer Evans and Danil Zabednov, I really liked as well. Zabednov, really quick player, quick feet, really high offensive, high up tempo player. Spencer Evans got that offensive defenseman type game. And then Jack Paquette and Timothy Bourne. Jack Paquette, a defenseman, and Timothy Bourne, a forward. Really like Bourne's game as well. And Paquette really stood out to me as well here and there. Excuse me, as a right shot defenseman as well. Sorry, I keep saying as well. But anyways, Kempville, the next team here that I really liked, I got the chance to see recently as well. Kempville, like we mentioned, we got Rory Gilmour for the Kempville 73s, a defenseman. We'll play his interview in a bit, so we'll jump into him a bit more later. But a couple guys who I've liked who've kind of stood out a bit, Wyatt Warner and Owen Redmond. Got to see Owen Redmond in a little showcase in Coburg there. And Wyatt Warner has had a phenomenal season as well in that group, Ryan.
Yeah, Redmond's good. Like he was at the Coburg, I can't speak either. The Coburg showcase, and he was really strong, unbelievable player, really fast, kind of quick. And I got my hands on the on ice testing, and he was like 12th or something out of like 45 guys in the on ice testing. So he did well there, and just a really good player. And then going through like the rest of the HEO list, like we got Hunter McKnight in the pod for good reason, because we both kind of love his game and what he brings. Playing on Brockville, which is kind of a lower team in the standings, but he brings it every game, and we also loved him at draft day. And Daniil Zabednov is another one I want to mention, just to piggyback off your points. Like really quick feet, good quick player, good shot, good offensive instincts, really strong player. Cadden Ryan is one that's caught my eye as well. He's a really, really good player as well. And then, I think I'm limited on looks for HEO. Like I'm sure there's more guys that I would like to mention if I watch more games, but unfortunately it kind of is what it is, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
I'm just gonna mention a few more guys whoever liked as well. From Ottawa Junior Senators rather. William Nickel is a player who I've kind of looked good. Lucas LeBlanc as well. Then Pembroke, Xavier Beauchamp as well. And then Renfrew Wolves is a team I got to watch recently as well. Dean Letourneau, really big player, 6'3", lanky player. Really looking forward to seeing. He's when he fills out, look out, because he's a really strong player, really two-way centerman there. Had a good offensive season. Has had a good offensive season as well. But he's got the size at the center position that a lot of teams will love. right shot as well. Tyson Virch, Miller K are both players who have really stood out at the forward position from Renfrew for me as well. Um, and Rockland Ben Watson Bullock as well as had a really solid season. And I also want to mention I forgot his name here. Owen Peltier is another player I think I like at a game I got to see from the Carleton Place Canadians as well. Um, and then some not defense, some goaltenders as well from the HEO who had some really great seasons this year. Obviously, we're gonna have Jaden Cholette on from the PN Raiders. We got a great interview coming up that you got to have with him, as well as David Igorov from the Ottawa Junior Senators. There, he's had a phenomenal year. So I'm in a covert showcase as a video, and he was phenomenal in that game. Great athleticism, come up with some big saves, flashing the leather there. And then Zach Gall from the Pembroke Lumber Kings as well. Evan Malherbe from the Renfrew Wolves. Sasha Thibodeau from the Rockland Nationals. And then from the Ontario Hockey Academy as well, Vincent Willette. And then also from Kentville, you have Braxton Bennett at the goaltending position as well. So those are some goaltenders from the HEO who have really stood out for me this season. So
Nice.
really strong goaltending. Really lots of players as well. The HEO has always got some really good players in terms of the high end, and you got as you go down, really some really strong players as a whole in that group as well. So just a great HEO group, I think, Ryan, as well. So
Yeah. Yeah, and I think like among the goalies, I mean, Jaden Cholette, we'll talk about him more later, and David Igorov, they've kind of separated themselves as the kind of the top goalies from Ottawa for me. But I mean, like I said before, I'm not going to count any of these other guys out because I don't watch as much Ottawa stuff. I'll admit that right off the bat. And yeah, it is what it is, right? So but just based on what I've seen, like I've been able to see Igorov in a lot of different looks. He came down. I believe he was in one of the Prodigy showcases as well, doing his thing. But he was in showcases down in our area and did really well. And Cholette, I mean, in video views, like initially I was watching the PN because I was hearing all this stuff about Cole Baudouin. I was watching, and then there's all these huge saves, and I'm like, Cholette's just killing it. So we'll talk more about him later after his interview. But yeah, no, it's nice to. I think that about covers it, eh?
yeah, I think so. So I
Yeah,
think we can get into our first interview here for forward who we had on the
yeah.
pod here, Hunter McKnight from the Brockville Braves. So without further ado, here's our interview with forward Hunter McKnight from the Brockville Braves U18 program.
All right, we're here with Hunter McKnight, star forward from the Brockville Braves U18 program. Hunter, how's it going, buddy?
Going good. How are you?
Going pretty good, pretty good. I mean, like it's been fun watching you play. We saw you at draft day. You were one of our standouts at draft day, and out in the HEO, you're killing it. Like I've watched a lot of video, and like you've had a great season so far. Just like even on paper, you're leading your team in scoring with 21 points. But yeah, it's been a good year for you. Like how has the season been so far for you and your teammates in Brockville?
Well, playing for Brockville, it's been fun. I've met lots of new players. Unfortunately, we haven't been winning too many games, but that's all right. The boys have come to play. We've put in the work in practice and in games. I've had lots of meaningful relationships I've built, met lots of new players, and especially coming into the Brockville, it was kind of different because I've been playing with the same players for multiple years with Ottawa Valley Titans and Ottawa Valley Silver 7. And I was nervous. I didn't really know what to expect. And some of the 05 players, like, for example, Travis Ouellette, our captain, he kind of took me under his wing, got me into Brockville, introduced me to other players, kind of like he's like a big role model for me, not only on the ice and off the ice. I think he's a tremendous player, and he's kind of helped me out and got me into the team. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, yeah, it's yeah, like you're not in the win column. Like you're probably hoping there's a couple more there, but sounds like you guys are coming
Yeah.
together as a group. And like the more that happens, I mean, later we get in the year, you never know, right? You could get more in the win column.
Exactly.
Yeah, so yeah, keep pushing. And I mean, to get into your game, your skating is super elite. I mean, like when I think of your skating, and I was thinking about this when I was watching draft day, just really like that stride length
Yeah.
And when you get to top speed, you're going really fast. Like, how do you like to use your speed to your advantage on the ice in different scenarios and all that?
Well, I like to use my speed, coming out of corners, especially winning battles down low, coming around the net, be able to get the extra step on the opponents, also be able to carry the puck in the offensive zone, neutral zone, defensive zone, be able to keep possession, create opportunities for myself and my teammates, as well as use it on defense, get the back checks going and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's perfect. Like, I mean, great. I mean, you use your speed. Like, obviously, you play a 200-foot game up and down the ice, and he's pretty fast, pretty quick, eh, Connor?
Oh, absolutely. And it's great. It was great to hear you highlight those different various situations. I mean, you use it offensively, but to apply it defensively as well, it really highlights that two-way aspect and that hockey IQ you have on the ice there. And I mean, in addition to your skating out there, one thing we noticed, and we've noticed watching you draft day in on video, you got a great shot release. I mean, super high end. You get shots off very quickly due to a quick trigger there. I mean, I saw it recently in a highlight. I think Brockville, you guys won in overtime, and you potted the OT winner. I mean, how did you develop such
Yeah.
a kind of deadly weapon with that shot there?
Well, last summer I worked with Greg Sharp. He actually coaches the Renfrew Wolves hockey team right now. He helped me
Okay.
find my release point and like how to like develop my shot using the whip, the flex of my stick, as well as like on the ODR practicing my shot, shooting as many pucks as possible. Working out has helped a lot, and all that's come together, and I think that's what's really helped.
Awesome. It's great to, I mean, it's awesome to hear all that work put in, working with different people, putting in the work on the ODR in your own time. And it's definitely come in. I mean, like I said, with that OT, I mean, you pot an OT winner. I mean, that's a massive kind of goal coming out, that clutch goal there. I mean, for me and Ryan, we got to see it in different video with Ottawa, but for a lot of our kind of audience members, who haven't seen as much Ottawa, kind of, if you had 3 words to describe your game to those kind of people who haven't seen you as much, what 3 words would you use
Yeah,
to describe your game?
absolutely. I like to think I'm a speed player who can use my strength and my hockey IQ on the ice. Like like to use my strength to separate myself from the puck, make big hits, help win battles down low. And like I said, with my speed, be able to create chances for me and my teammates, come around explosive around the net and out of battles, and like to use my hockey IQ to be in the right positions at the right time, and also create chances doing that as well.
Absolutely. It's great 3 attributes there, and that strength and that speed is massive, especially. I know you got that size advantage out there. I know Ryan especially has
Yeah.
recognized that size
Yeah.
well, I think, too. Hey, Ryan?
Yeah, and length. Like, you got a nice reach, and it's a nice combo. Like, you got a nice skill set there. So, like, looking at the NHL level, are there any players in the show you model your game after?
Well, I like to say I like to model my game off of 3 main players. I'd probably say one of them, Nathan McKinnon, because he's got size, speed, powerful shot. And we have Steven Stamkos, leadership, hockey IQ, also has a powerful shot. And then Jonathan Taves with his leadership and his hockey IQ as well.
Yeah, no, I love those ones. Those are good ones. Wow. And I love the leadership, like, intangible. That's important to you, eh? To be like, are you
Yeah.
like a leader? Are you kind of more like a vocal leader? Or are you more like lead by example kind of guy?
To be honest, I think both. Like in the
Yeah.
dressing room, I like to get the boys going, be motivational as well as leading by example by doing everything right, working hard in practice, in games, off the ice, whether that's in school, off ice training, or just like in general.
No, those are great intangibles that I mean, OHL teams looking to draft guys, like they're looking for those qualities. So that's great. And like, speaking of your qualities and different things, like your personality wise, how would your teammates maybe describe your personality in the dressing room and even away from the rink?
Uh, I'd say I like to talk. I like to have fun with my friends. You know,
Yeah,
making
nice.
jokes and just being like a fun guy. Being a fun guy brings everybody up, and I think that's what my teammates would describe me as. But when it comes down to the game, I like to be funny, have fun, but I also like to be serious because I like to
Yeah.
win games. I like to do everything right. So I think it's a pretty good 50-50 ratio, and that's I think my teammates would say.
Yeah, no, you got to find that balance, right? And then, like, Because you don't want to be like
Absolutely.
trying to be the funny guy at the wrong time, like after a loss or something. You don't want to be that guy,
Yeah,
right? Right, Connor?
exactly.
Oh yeah, it's good to see that you got. I think you do have that 50-50 balance. I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
It's you're outgoing, you're fun, you got that. I like how you brought in, you like to joke around a bit too, have some fun at the rink. I mean, everyone loves having those jokes,
Yeah.
having that fun, playing maybe some pranks with the boys and stuff. I mean, I think that's what makes hockey and being around the rink so special as well, which is awesome. And then kind of getting away from the rink, away from hockey a bit in general here. What is your favorite movie of all time?
Favorite movie? That's a tough one. I'd like to say maybe I like the movie Goon.
Oh,
Hockey movie. I like
Nice.
that one. Yeah, it's a good one. Also, another one I like is I like Black Panther. I
yes,
think that's a good movie.
Okay.
I've always enjoyed that one.
that's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
great pick. Black Panther.
Classic.
I like Black Goons. Goons a great one, a great hockey movie, and then Black Panther definitely one of the great Marvel movies as well. Um,
Yeah.
Great picks there.
Absolutely.
Um, and then kind of another
Thank
one,
you.
another fun one we like to ask players and stuff is, what would be a dream vacation destination for you?
Dream vacation. I honestly I've seen pictures of, you guys know where Bora
Oh
Bora
yeah,
is?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've
That looks like
seen
a good
pictures
time,
and
eh?
like I think
Yeah.
a beautiful place, like the water's clear, like the little huts on the water. Like I think that would be a pretty fun vacation spot.
oh
Nice.
yeah. That definitely make everyone jealous, especially I think being up in Canada now with still in winter here, we get all the snow and stuff. And I don't think Bora Bora gets too much
Yeah.
snow by the looks of it, so it's definitely
I don't think
No.
so.
it's definitely be a preferred destination, I think, as well. But I think it'd be a great destination to go to. So that's awesome, man. And just kind of wrapping up here, man. We
Yeah.
really appreciate you taking the time. It's been fun to get to know you, get to hear you talk about your game. Hopefully, we'll get to see you at the rink sometime. I know you're out in Ottawa, but hopefully, sometime when you're closer to the GTA, we'll get to meet you in person and all that. So we really appreciate you taking the time to come on the pod, and just best of luck the rest of the season with Brockville, and best of luck at the OHL draft. Thanks for coming on the pod, Hunter.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much, guys. Thanks for having me.
And we're back from our interview with Hunter McKnight, forward from the Brockville Braves U18 AAA program. Great getting to talk to Hunter. I mean, just first off, just really humble, down to earth player and kid. Just off the ice in and of itself, he's a great kid. It was phenomenal getting to talk to him, but his on ice talent speaks for itself. I mean, Brockville hasn't had the greatest season. I'm sure they wish they had more success this year, so far. But he's had a great year. He's put up, I believe, around 22 points for the team. He's really came up big in some big situations for them. Recently, he scored an OT winning goal for them. Uh, I mean, we got to see him first at draft day, and he's just a phenomenal player. He's got the size, the strength, and he's got the finesse, some finesse to go with it, and he's got a great scoring touch as well, I think, as well, Ryan.
Yeah, no, he's a good player. Like really, really kind of that nice long skating stride, generates a lot of speed, generates it quickly with those quick feet, and yeah, highly skilled, like great hands. I like his length, right? Like long stick, good range of motion, flexibility in his upper body. So he can do a lot of different angles, a lot of different kind of moves with that kind of range of motion, that kind of that wide like loop. Like he can do a long curl and drag. He can kind of do a lot of different moves, really skilled. And another thing I noticed, he shoots well in stride, right? Like full speed, he can rip a snapshot, wrist shot. Like he's got all kinds of different releases that he uses. And he's just really fun to watch, like really kind of a complete overall forward, that kind of tall. He's a bit lanky now, but like once he fills into his body and fills into his big frame, like he's going to be that really good power forward at the next level, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right there, and kind of that prototypical power forward type game with some skill as well, adding into it. And he's really able to, what I noticed as well, to your point about him with the scoring ability and the shot there, he's really able to put himself into spots on the ice where he can receive the puck and put himself in a prime position where he can use that scoring touch and use that scoring ability. Really in that home plate sort of area where that you get those quality grade A scoring chances, whether it be right next to the net where he uses his size, and makes his presence known around the net front, or even a bit further out with the shot. He's got it all, and He's got that hockey IQ to his game, and he's got the confidence to do it as well. With that aspect too, with the offensive upside that he has, and he doesn't shy away defensively either. He doesn't shy away physically, using his size to his advantage, like you mentioned with it being with him still filling out. That is, he still finishes his checks. He still gets in there and he's able to use his body and his size effectively to really leverage guys off the puck. And whether it's going up against guys similar to him or guys lower, he's able to come out with the puck and really use his body well, which is important for big players. It's if you got that big body, it's important to use it. I mean, defensively as well, he's a player you can count on to get the puck out of your zone on the wing there, in any situation. And he's clearly a relied upon player and a trusted player, with the Rockville Braves there. And it's clear he's got a good balance of kind of on the ice. He's got that seriousness and he's got that game time face and that game face. But off the ice, I love hearing him talk about he. I love he loves joking around. He loves keeping it light with the boys because you're at the rink and you might as well have fun too if you're not when you're not in the game as well. And I love talk. We talked to him after a bit about kind of pranks or whatnot and jokes, and he just loves the game and he loves hockey and he loves being around the rink, playing around with the boys, and just having a good time. It was fun talking to him and getting that perspective because it's a balance. You want to have fun when you're playing the game, and he clearly has fun as well as when it's time to play and it's time to get going. He's there and he's gonna give it his all, and he's gonna be there giving it his 110% on the ice there, which I think is important having that balance there, Ryan.
Yeah, for sure. Those are excellent points. I mean, I like his intangibles. He looks like a hockey player, right? Like kind of has that he keeps it light off the ice, but also serious in the right times, right? You can't be joking around when things are getting serious, and he knows that balance. He was talking about it with us, and I like the point you made about the physicality. He's really physical, like whether it's getting in after on the forecheck with his speed, and then kind of I don't know, hammering the D, getting in there, laying a body on the guys, and putting that pressure on the forecheck. Is really really strong. Kind of also like in terms of his physicality, I like how he protects the puck in the offensive zone. Kind of gets low with that wide stance, keeps guys on his back, and is able to kind of work his magic in the offensive zone. Even though he's under pressure, he's able to kind of shield that puck and protect it. And work the cycle down low. So there's a lot to like about his game on all like 200 feet of the ice, all over the place. He's solid, good defensively, doesn't miss his assignments. So yeah, no, it was great to catch up with him and with Hunter and have this interview. So that was a lot of fun. But and yeah, that's it on Hunter. So let's jump into the next one. We had an interview with Rory Gilmour from the Campville 73s. Let's jump into that interview with Rory now. All right, we're here with Rory Gilmour, star defenseman from the Campville 73s. Rory, how's it going?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. We're pumped to have you on and doing well. I mean, and you're doing well, leading your team in scoring for defensemen this year. And I mean, you've had an outstanding year. Like, we really enjoyed watching you play. We can't get out to Ottawa much, but we watch you guys on video quite a bit, and you're killing it, man. Like, how has it been this year so far for you and your teammates?
It's been pretty good. We had a rough start. We had lots of injuries, and I think we had 7 players out at one time. Like, it was hard, but after the break, we've really been on a tear now. I think we've got points in our last 7 games. Like, we're just on a tear now.
Nice. Yeah, that's good. Like, it's a good time to be hot, right? Coming up to playoff season, so that's good stuff. And you yourself, you're just such an elite puck moving defenseman with that excellent mobility. That's the type of D-man OHL teams need. So, like, just in terms of like using your speed, your elite skating, your puck skills, how do you like to use those skills to your advantage to move the puck up ice, like gain the offensive zone and threaten once you get in there?
Just, kind of going around the net, just try and draw someone to you, find the open guy, or try and get a chance down low, maybe. Like,
Yeah.
just try and beat one guy at a time, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, it's like one guy at a time, one step at a time, and then kind of assess what's going on, and then like use your hockey IQ to make the next move, right, Connor?
No, it's such a great point too with that respect to the adjusting one guy at a time. Because big thing when I'm watching video and whether it's watching kind of one team at a time or whatever, a lot of players get caught in kind of looking too far, and it's more so like they're thinking about 3 or 4 guys. Some guys you got to focus on what's in front of you and just get that first guy out of the way. And it's like take your time and have that poise, and you got that poise in your game as well. And
Yeah.
I mean, Ryan just listed a bunch of attributes, and another thing to add on to kind of that speed and skill you have on the ice. You play with an edge out there, and you're very physical as well. I mean, is that you kind of like to mix things up a bit as well? Is that physical element kind of a big part of your identity as a player, you think?
I love hitting. I love going into the corner and battling it out with someone. I love it.
You think is a big part of that also kind of the fact that it maybe gets the boys riled up a bit too?
Oh yeah. Well, it just helps. I'm not a bigger player. I'm not one of the big guys out there, so try and use my body to get in there definitely helps. So
Do you think opposition, like I don't know whether like I don't know maybe now because it's kind of progressed in the season, but maybe at the start people maybe underestimate you because maybe you're not as big as some other guys?
I've definitely got comments like not being a 6-foot defenseman or whatever, but I think now I can show them that I've been able to hit, been able to make that body check or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely been I know for sure there's definitely been times where some guys probably going in the corner thinking, oh, I'm gonna dominate you in the corner, and then you probably go ahead and put him on the ice, and it's like, okay, they
That's
probably
what I
gets probably a wake up call for him. So that's pretty awesome. And kind of we've highlighted a lot of your game, but if you kind of had 3 words to describe your game to anyone who isn't as familiar, for a lot of people who maybe don't necessarily watch Ottawa as much, how would you describe your game to those people, and kind of what would they be and why?
Speed. I think I have great footwork and very fast player. Hockey IQ. I think I can see the ice very well and where everyone is. And probably grit. I like to get corners and work it out, work hard on the game.
Oh, that's a great blend. I love that. The speed, the IQ, and the grit. The grit's a great word. I love it hearing that word grit because you give me physical. The word physical can come up, but grit, I think it just represents, it's a blend of like that compete that you have, that toughness, as well as that physicality all blend together. I know Ryan loves that grit, especially in defenseman as well, right, Ryan?
Well, you compete hard. You have a sense of urgency on the ice, and yeah, you make things happen. Like you really let people know you're there, and I love that. Like I think it's nice to have that edge. Gives you an advantage on the ice. Like you kind of get into people's heads. Like I've noticed that in some video I've watched of you and in some games. So that's awesome stuff. And your speed is unreal. Like I noticed that a lot watching you as showcase in the summer. Really, really fast, and you're smart too. Like the way you kind of attack open spaces with and without the puck's awesome, and it's great to hear all that stuff. So a gritty defenseman. So moving on from that, like in the NHL, like are there any players you model after? Like do you like a gritty defenseman, or who do you like?
Not really gritty, but I like to model myself after Gilmour. I think a lot of the game could have saw him coming, but he's great poise with the puck. Like his lateral movement's unreal. Like just watch him's a highlight. Everything he does is unreal.
Yeah, and your skating is great. So like that's a great one for you to model after. And I mean, Cale Makar's got excellent spatial awareness and hockey IQ and unreal skills. So you've got those tools as well. So that's a great one for you to model after. And just ISO watch when you're watching the Avalanche. Just ISO watch him and kind of learn from him and do what he does, right? Like he's the man right now and everyone knows it. So that's cool. So moving on to a completely different thing. Are you a superstitious player, and are there any pre-game routines that are a must for you?
I think the biggest one for me is before we all go out on the ice, I have handshakes with just about everyone on our team. Like I love it. especially a few of them. They're pretty superstitious about it.
That's cool. We love those, Connor?
That's all. Are there any handshakes that are like really kind of intricate? I know there's some handshakes that are kind of just like simple, like back forth. Or are there any that are like intricate where it's like you gotta at first you have to like put some thought into the handshake, or is it all kind of just?
There's one on our team that it took like we're just starting to get it like down now that we can actually do it right, like just like off top of our head.
I like it.
Other than that, they're pretty simple, just on the way out, like.
Yeah.
Just no.
You gotta keep those ones pretty simple though in some sense, just because you don't need to be going all over the place and try to remember your handshake right before you get on the ice or whatever. Don't need a super long one because gotta be a quick one to get out there before you hit the ice. So, but I love hearing that. I know we love hearing that because it shows off the kind of the team chemistry and the bond you guys have out there. Then kind of away from similar to hockey, but we're gonna get a bit away from hockey in some sense in a second too. What's your favorite pregame meal?
I gotta go with the spaghetti and meatballs.
Nice one. Nice.
It's about
Nice.
Yeah.
game,
Solid.
just
What's the go-to? You got a go-to sauce with it? Tomato, Alfredo. What's the sauce with it?
regular tomato.
Yeah,
Mom makes it and it's wicked.
good decision. Smart decision right there. You gotta go with the tomato sauce and spaghetti and meatballs. And sticking with food, away from kind of the pregame meal. Do you have a favorite meal, kind of on an off day, that if you could eat that meal for the rest of your life, that would be the meal you'd pick?
It's a tough one. I think chili, I think it's up there.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a
nice.
good answer.
I don't know why. I just, when I come home from hockey or anything, I smell chili. It's game over. I don't
Nice.
know what it is,
Original
but
one. I
I
like
like-
that.
That's a great pick, especially see as we just got done with the Super Bowl. So like that's gotta be. Did you watch the Super Bowl?
I did. I was texting Ryan about that the other day, actually.
Yeah, I know. You were going for the Bengals, right?
I was going for the Bengals and they lost.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm a big I guess I'm showing my age because like I've been following Stafford like since like I always really thought he was great, and since 2009 I remember all those games for the Detroit Lions where he'd put the team on his back and then he'd lose like in a heartbreaking fashion. And I remember all those games, and it's like, you know what, I feel good for him, like, to get that win because he deserves it. Like he's been an incredible quarterback to watch in the league for so long. I think Burrow will be back, right?
Oh, he'll definitely be back next year.
Yeah.
Next
Oh
year.
gosh, I was in between for the longest time, but I was low-key. I like Cooper Kupp a lot, so I was like wanting the Rams to
Yeah.
win, but also like Joe Burrow. Back when he was in college with LSU in the national championship against Clemson, I was cheering for Clemson. And he beat Clemson, so I was like, oh, I hate this guy now. And I was like, oh gosh. But that game was actually like the stressfulness, like, and then Burrow the
Oh,
week before. So I guess Ryan may have got a win on the picks there of the teams winning. So
Yeah.
My
Yes,
grandpa
yes.
said the same thing as Ryan. Just he's been waiting for it so long. It's just good that he finally got a win.
yeah, and I'm sure he'll probably get more wins because Detroit. It's good to be honest. A good thing he's out of Detroit because they didn't exactly have a great year this year
Yeah.
either. To be honest, so it's good to see that he's had success though, especially with all the work he's put in, Matthew Stafford. So it was honestly a sick weekend. And although I
It was
know
a good-
speaking, sorry, go
You
ahead.
liked it? Did you like the halftime show?
I did like
That's from my era, man. That's
Yeah.
like some good
I did
stuff.
like.
You like?
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
One of the
Um,
better ones, definitely.
I get there's probably a lot of people probably like, what is this music or something? And then there's other people who were like loving it.
I remember when all that stuff was released, and I was like getting right into that. That was good stuff. Like, good songs, man. Like when those songs came out, like you guys are too young for that, but like, wow, like some of those songs were huge when they came out, right? Like, it's just everyone was listening to them.
They're
Yeah.
bangers, eh? It's just
Oh yeah, huge.
every episode, Ryan finds a way to just age himself a bit, eh, Ryan? Oh, anyway, I'll age Ryan a bit again here, kind of similar to that. Are you a video? I don't know if you're a video game guy at all. What would you say is your go-to video game console if you play any?
I'm not a big video game guy. When I do, it's usually PS4.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's the
So-
you got a go-to game that you usually play on there?
NHL 22.
Yep.
Yeah.
Me against my little brother. Thinks he can beat me
Oh,
time. Really worked out.
Nice.
undefeated against him.
No, actually.
Oh,
He actually does beat me sometimes, and then doesn't end well for him after that.
classic.
Usually a controller breaks or something.
Oh
Yeah.
god. Classic sibling rivalry though, eh?
Oh, yeah.
If you're not winning, you gotta at least show the little younger sibling what's up a bit and let them
Yeah.
know. But that's awesome, man. It's been great to meet you. Great to talk to you about your game, and really appreciate you taking the time to come on the pod. We've taken a lot of your time up, and just best of luck the rest of the season with Kempville, and best of luck at the OHL draft this year. Thanks for coming on the pod.
Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for having me. It was great. Thank you.
And we're back from an interview with defenseman Rory Gilmour from the Kempville 73's U18 AAA program. I mean, first off, when you jump into Rory's game, what stood out to me is his aggressiveness on the ice. I mean, he talked about himself. He's not the biggest guy out there. I think he stands about 5'9"-ish, around there. But he identified it, and honestly, watching him play, it's easy to identify as well. He doesn't back down. He's not, despite not being the same size as a lot of guys he's going up against, he brings that physicality, he brings that aggressiveness, and he's not easy to play against down low in the D zone. And he combines that physicality and that aggressiveness with his skating a lot of the time. Whereas mobility and his edges, his ability to be smooth on his edges, kind of maneuver really well in and out of tight spaces and really be calm with the puck. It really sets him up well to be an effective puck moving defenseman. Down low in his zone when he's under pressure, he can get out of pressure or really just find that open lane, create a lane with the skating, and then just hit that first pass, that breakout pass, and nail it right on the tape, which is so important for a defenseman nowadays.
Yeah, no, he's that like mobile defenseman, really, really good skater. Like can't emphasize that enough. Like really great feet, really, really excellent edges, good speed. He's that sort of elite puck moving defenseman that the teams are looking for. And I really liked him. Like I had some chances to see him on video, had the chance to see him at draft day, similar to Hunter McKnight, got to see these guys at draft day, right? And Gilmour was one that stood out. Like that's why we asked him to be on the pod. Like we really liked his game when we saw him there, and in the limited chances that I have been able to see him, he's been really effective. And yeah, like that skating is just so huge. Like I noticed the passes. It's something about him with his passes. Like he's got great timing and weight on his passes, and just the way he does things. Like I like how he comes out of the zone. Like he's not one of those guys that's going to rip it around the wall and make the winger kind of deal with it with the pressure and whatever. Like he's going to he's going to probably gain at least his defensive blue line most of the time, and then make a nice pass, or gain to center ice, or gain the offensive blue line. Like he's going to take whatever the defense gives him and then make the play. So it kind of like draws a defender in. He's able to kind of make the pass, facilitate the breakout, do those things that that you want to see, and push the pace like that. Like I said, elite puck moving D, right? Able to get the puck up ice efficiently and effectively.
No, absolutely, and that's one of the most important things, especially with the modern day defensemen we see.
Yeah.
And it's important to note that I've noticed he's really improved defensively as the year goes on. He's really starting to establish himself into that kind of two-way defenseman type form as well, where he can contribute offensively, really move the puck up ice, but also be a reliable defenseman down deep in his own zone. And his team can count on him for that. And it's also worth noting something, as we talk about a lot of the time with intangibles for various different players, leadership. He wore the C for his U15, or I guess U14 if there wasn't a U15 season,
Right.
Upper Canada Cyclone squad. And I believe he actually recently got an A at time with the Kempville 73s there.
Nice.
So he's got that leadership, and it's clear he's a level-headed player. He's serious on the ice, and he makes the right decisions, and he's a player who's going to lead by example, but can also be vocal out there for his squad. But having that leadership is a huge intangible quality that I think is so important. But he really brings that complete game on the ice as a defenseman. And I think a lot of teams are going to covet that. I mean, we saw, last year, Quinton Burns from the same program, Kempville 73,
Yeah.
went really similar defenseman, I'd say. Quinton Burns probably a bit bigger than Rory here, but really kind of that the defenseman, we'll probably see Quinton Burns, I think, went top 4 rounds. I'm fairly certain we're going to see Rory go fairly high.
Yeah.
In this
Yeah,
year's
like
draft of defenseman.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I
go
had a
ahead.
chance to to interrupt. Like I had a chance to talk to Terry Nichols, the GM from Kempville there, and yeah, they expect him to go high, right? Like he brings a lot to the table, like you mentioned, and they're really excited about him down there. Like he's kind of He said top few rounds. So what you said, top 4 rounds, that's totally kind of what I'm expecting, just based on what I've seen, heard, and all that, right?
No, absolutely. And he's definitely put himself into that conversation. I mean, we know a lot about the D in the kind of Greater Toronto area and the Alliance, ETA,
Yeah.
SCTA, and all that.
Exactly.
But he's definitely, if he was playing here, we'd be seeing him we'd be going to see
Oh,
him
yeah.
as much as possible because he's definitely in that group of kind of that top defenseman who's to look out for. And it'll be really interesting to see where he goes. And we don't expect him to last tremendously long because he's definitely that defenseman, that mobile defenseman that we talked about, and he brings that aggressiveness as you mentioned there. But it was phenomenal getting to talk about his game, and honestly, just huge thanks to Rory for jumping on the pod. Just tremendous getting to talk to him, get to know him off the ice as well. It was honestly a great time, fun time talking to Rory. So, we'll jump into the next interview now. You got the chance. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make the interview. I was stuck in a 3-hour lecture, but you got
Lucky
the chance.
you.
You got the chance to do to have a phenomenal interview with our next guest here from the Nepean Raiders, goaltender Jaden Cholette. Phenomenal interview. So without further ado, for our viewers, here's our interview with the Nepean Raiders goaltender Jaden Cholette.
All right. I'm here with Jaden Cholette, star goalie from the Nepean Raiders U18 AAA program. Jaden, how's it going?
I'm doing good. You?
Doing really good, thanks. Just busy, lots of hockey. And same with you, right? Like you've had an unreal season so far with the Nepean Raiders. And the record for the team when you start is 12-1, which is unbelievable. So how much fun has it been, like winning so many games and all that as the backstopper for your squad?
It's always been fun on a winning team, but as a goalie, you always want to get more action. But that's not the case this year. So I have to stay focused and be ready to make the save when needed.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, you've been on some winning teams like with the 67s and in the past, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you've had some good teams, and
Yeah.
a lot of it has to do with that last line of defense with you. Like you're a bigger goalie at 6'3", 175. Great measurements for like a U16. Well, you're playing U18, but for a U16 player, and you have like to go along with that good size, you have good technical abilities, and the way you play and the way you angle with your technical abilities, it doesn't give shooters a lot of options when they're taking shots on you. So is it important to you to use your frame to eliminate options for opponents on the attack?
That's a good question. Yes, it's very important for me to use my big frame as a goalie because I try to like cut off all the angles so that the shooter doesn't have anywhere to shoot.
Yeah. No, like watching you play, like there's literally no spaces or gaps. Like, I mean, a lot of times when you see players coming in, like there's some options there, but like the holes or like the open spots are really small with you just because of your size and the way you play technically. So it's great.
Yeah, and I've done growing too.
Yeah, no, that's good. Like if you keep growing, yeah, like that's you're scary good now. If you keep growing, you'll be set, buddy. And yeah, you're at like go along with the size and the technical ability. It's also the athleticism, the flexibility, like really, really limber, like really able to stretch out those pads and that. And reflexes, just quick cat-like reflexes. They're unreal. So how do those like attributes help you stop the puck so consistently? Find
These help me stop the puck consistently because when I have to react quickly to remove a scoring chance for the opposing team.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like yeah, like let's face it, like you're being a goalie, it's all about getting there quick, right?
Yeah.
And those things definitely help you with that. So I've talked a bit about your game and what I think are like the key parts. I could go on and on about it, but I mean, we have limited time or whatever. But if you had 3 words to describe your game yourself as a goalie, what would they be and why?
I would describe myself of having calmness because panicking results into bad positioning and mistakes. Playing the puck because it allows players to focus on setting up plays without focusing on the puck really because I'm handling it. And rebound control because it stops a second shot on net in the same play.
Oh, that's so good. Like calmness, like I never see you freaking out and swimming in the crease and flailing like crazy. Like
Yeah.
you're not the Dominic Hasek type. But I like that. I like that you're calm, cool, collected. Like you mentioned playing the puck. So being calm, it helps with that as well. And you play the puck really, really well and aggressively. And yeah, no, that's good stuff. Like, I mean, yeah. What was the third one again? You said
Rebound control.
rebound control, right? Yeah, like that's a good one as well because, like, I mean, I've noticed a lot of times when you kind of angle your pad to the corner, and I've noticed a lot of pucks like kind of die in the corner when
Yeah.
they shoot on you. Instead of a lot of goalies that kick them out and kick them wherever. Like I noticed that you send a lot of them and they die in the corner. Do you do that on purpose?
Yeah, I put the puck in the corner on purpose so that like it doesn't go on a player's tape.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's
So that it
perfect.
dies.
Yeah, no, that's really good. Like it's really noticeable. It's a tough skill to do. Like a lot of times it's just like, okay, like obviously the first thing is stop the puck. But then if you can stop the puck in an efficient way that doesn't lead to second chances, like making it die in the corner the way you do, like it's really, really a huge skill. And I mean, it takes a lot of work to get there and to be able to do that. I don't see too many goalies doing that at your age. So that's awesome. And okay, so goalies are known to be a bit different, like have some superstitions at times. I know when I was growing up, I had some goalies that were real they're kind of a couple of them were real head cases, but anyways, it's interesting. Goalies seem to have a little more superstitions than players, but hockey is a superstitious sport overall, though.
Yeah.
But for you, like, how's that for you? Like, are there any pregame routines that are a must or any superstitions that are important to you?
Routine that's a must is I always eat a banana before a game.
Nice.
And I warm up my eyes by doing eye-to-eye movement and listening to music to concentrate on the game.
Perfect. Perfect. Those three perfect things, like get your mind ready for the game with the music, get your reflexes ready and just that sharpness with the eyes. And then yeah, like the banana, that's interesting. Like bananas prevent cramps. Is that kind of what it's about with that, or just a bit of energy as well, or
I don't know. It was just something when I went to the WSI tournament. I just
okay.
had a banana before a game and I just played like lights out that game. So I just
Yeah.
continued having banana and I
Oh, they're
figured that I played really well.
yeah, because they're loaded with energy. Like, and then you're less likely to cramp up. They always say if you have a cramp, eat a banana and it'll go away. So like bananas, they're pretty magical. Like I think I think you're onto something there.
Yeah.
So yeah, and just in the NHL, like watching games in the show. Do you have any goalies you model after?
I model my game after Carey Price because he's calm in nets. He plays the puck very well and he has very good positioning.
Nice, nice. Have you ever had a chance to see him live?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, he's I know you're out east, so I wondered maybe if you did, but no, he's unbelievable. And yeah, like he was just really fun to watch. Like what he did to the Leafs was just
Yeah.
crazy. He
That was
just
really good.
oh man. Like I've never seen anything like well, you see goalies come up big in the playoffs, but that was really like next level stuff. So it's a good choice. Um for a fun one here, who would be the scariest player in the NHL to face on a breakaway?
I fear no player but Connor McDavid.
Yeah, that's the answer we always get. But I like that. Like I fear no player, right? Like you, even if it's Connor McDavid coming down, you probably think you can stop him, right? Like,
Yeah.
and you can. Like, so that's crazy. Like, I like that though. I fear no player. Like that's I love that. But yeah,
Yeah.
Connor McDavid's pretty ridiculous. Like I don't know if there's ever been a combination of speed and kind of speed and skill in the history of hockey. Like just the way he stick handles at top speed, it's really unbelievable. Like he's yeah, like the thing about him is just the dedication, right? Like he just works so hard. Even though
Yeah.
he's at the top of the game, you notice he's still working hard. He's still like from all accounts, like you hear from people, like he'll be out for PEP skates in Toronto like all the time. Like he constantly working on it, right?
Yeah.
He's fun to watch. So getting to know a bit about you, like personally and whatever, away from the rink, like how do you like to spend your time away from the rink? Are there activities, hobbies, any interests, anything you enjoy?
I enjoy biking, boating, and spending time at the cottage because it makes me like away from the rink, and I just enjoy that summer vibe.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's a nice reset. You can relax, spend time with the family and all that. So, no, that's great. I love that. Like it can't be hockey all the time and 365 days a year. You gotta have that break and
Yeah.
gotta love the summer, right? Like the warm weather, being up north with that crisp air, wherever the cottage may be. It's
Yeah.
all. Um, so I mean, it's COVID right now, so it's tough to travel and whatnot. But what's that dream travel destination for you? Like, are there any places in the world you're dying to visit?
It has to be Bora Bora because the houses above the water is just really nice. Nice weather, and I could do a lot of sea doing.
That's a good one. Like, we normally don't ask the same questions on these interviews, and for some reason, this one came up twice in this episode. And Hunter McKnight from Brockville said Bora Bora as well.
Oh yeah.
Which is really interesting because we normally ask these different ones, but it just so happened that this one popped up twice and he said Bora Bora. So that's kind of an interesting coincidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like it's nice. Like I gotta think about going there. I think it's expensive, but
Yeah. Very.
yeah, it's fancy. Anyways, yeah, Jaden, thanks so much for jumping on the pod. It was a pleasure having you, and yeah, like keep it up, keep up the good work this season. You're crushing it, and just keep killing it, man. And just very best of luck the rest of the year, and best of luck at the OHL draft.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
And we're back from our interview with goaltender Jaden Cholette from the Nepean Raiders U18 AAA program. And clearly, Jaden Cholette, I mean, if you don't watch him on the ice, first of all, you can if all you do is look at the numbers this year and the results he's seen, it's clear that he's separated himself, put himself into the top tier of goaltenders for the 2022 OHL draft. And I mean, his on-ice play speaks for itself as well. And you got the chance to talk to him, and it was just his on-ice play matches the numbers. Sometimes the numbers you can get some blurriness with numbers and the stats because maybe guys on a good team, but no, Nepean's atop the standings in the HEO U18, and it's combined with the fact they got some great players in the forward and defense position. But this guy's leading the way from the back end as well there in the crease.
Yeah, no, unbelievable goalie. He's extremely polished. Great game overall. Stands at about 6'3" right now. And he mentioned in the interview he's still growing. So I know OHL teams are gonna love that. They love goalies with good size and I mean, even just stats wise, numbers wise, like a 2.0 goals against average, like second in save percentage in the league. So really, really good goalie. Like I think like his polish game, his technical ability, his ability to kind of get into great position. And then like with this big frame already, he's in great position. He makes himself big in the net. He stands tall and challenges shooters. He doesn't go down too early. That's something like I've really focused on this year is watching goalies and seeing if they go down early because in minor hockey, they're taught a lot to go down. But then at the OHL level, they're taught to stay up, right? So it's like it's one of those things where if you're seeing a goalie that's able to kind of challenge a shooter and stay up and make themselves big. So like I've mentioned this before, a lot of times that puck hits the shoulder rather than going over the shoulder in the top corner in those close calls and those close plays. And yeah, like in addition to his kind of technical ability and positioning, which is like really well polished and good, really athletic, like quick reaction saves, like awesome reflexes, ability to kind of get the pad down quick and react to shots quickly is great. And rebound control is excellent. Like we talked in the interview about kind of putting it into the corner and letting it die there instead of kind of kicking it out and having second, third, fourth chances coming at you. It's a skill that I mean, you won't necessarily notice unless you watch a lot of games. And I've seen quite a few Nepean games and noticed this, that he does that a lot. Like he puts it in the corner, it dies there, and then kind of, I don't know, the defense can kind of get after it, kind of puck battle, and then it's basically on the position players at that point to get the puck out. And then if he has to face more pressure, he has to face more pressure. It just depends on the situation. And yeah, like just really, really good overall goalie. Like kind of checks all those boxes, right? Like teams are really, really high on him, and for good reason, right?
No, absolutely, and I love that point you made about staying up when you need to stay up and go down when you actually have to go down, which is important. I think it's important for a big goalie, especially, because of the fact that you're big, you're already big enough, and when you go down, it makes you smaller, and it can open up more holes for you, which I think is just a great point you made there. But just looking at his game, it's just, I mean, you mentioned it. He's just complete game. He's got the athleticism. He's got the size. He's got the poise, the calm, the crease. You're not going to see him flailing around in the crease like a fish or anything like that.
Plays the puck well. Yeah.
Exactly, and he's a calming presence in that crease for Nepean, and it makes this Nepean team. The Nepean Raiders are one of the top-ranked U8 teams, AAA teams in Canada right now, and he's one of the reasons why. I mean, you got him in the crease, and it leads out. He's a calming and confident presence in the crease there for Nepean, and it allows them, their forwards and their defense, to play their game. Where, for me, when I see a goaltender as strong as he is, who's as calm, who's as effective as he is, it just allows the team in front of them to play free. It allows them to make plays. Hey, if I make a mistake here, I can make a play. Maybe if I didn't have a goalie who I'm not as confident in, hey, I might not make a certain play here. I might not try for the stretch pass. But with him in the net, I think they're able to play free. They're able to kind of make certain plays that maybe some other teams won't make, because they know, hey, if I make a mistake, I got Jaden Cholette back there who's going to back me up and bail me out. And he definitely does probably bail them out at various times. And they give him a good tap on the pad, and then they'll go down and score one for him. And it's a great blend for the team. But he's definitely one of the top goaltenders for the draft, and he's put himself into that top tier, not only with his work ethic and his play this season, but it's shown in terms of results as well, which is great to see for him in that regard. But it's just a phenomenal interview by you, talking to Jaden there.
Buddy.
So just thanks so much to Jaden for joining the pod here. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it.
Sure.
Wish I could have made it, but 3-hour lecture. But honestly, once again, just a big thanks to Jaden, Rory, and Hunter McKnight for joining the pod, hopping on for this Ottawa episode. We're looking forward to watching again and getting our eyeballs on some more Ottawa hockey in terms of hockey TV. And I know you're going to be heading down a little trip there.
Getting on the road, buddy. I'm going to be down there.
So
I hope for the playoffs they have the same things where it's kind of set up as showcase days where I can get maybe I'll get a hotel and get 2 days in, but we'll see how it works out. But I'm getting down there soon, which is exciting. It's gonna be fun.
It'll be great. It'll be great for coverage, and it'll be great to get some live views, because honestly, I think nothing beats getting there live. And as nice as it is,
video.
As nice as it is for the hockey TV to see it on there every so often, it's not nothing beats live hockey and getting to be there and just watch the Ottawa boys fly there. So just once again, like I said, thanks to Hunter, Rory, and Jane for jumping on the pod, and we'll wrap it up here for our listeners and our viewers, whether on YouTube or the podcast. We've talked for a long time here, and people are probably sick of hearing our voices here. So definitely, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. If you're listening on a podcast, whatever podcast platform you listen to, don't forget to download and like on whatever podcast platform that is. Don't forget to follow us on social media at the U16pod on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow myself on Twitter and Instagram at cwilliams_384. You can follow Ryan on Twitter and Instagram at Ryan P. MacArthur. If you want to send any inquiries to us via email, please send those to the U16pod at gmail.com, and we'll get back to you as soon as we possibly can. We try to get those responses out as fast as possible. But with that being said, that does it for this episode of the U16 pod. So we'll see you next time on the U16 pod.
Yeah. Take care, everybody.